welcome to another episode of Mine Explorers. We are here with Steve Enders from beautiful Wyoming. He's using a Starlink today, so we are keeping our fingers crossed that the connection will stay. Welcome, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. It's nice to be here. Yeah, I'm in a U.S. Forest Service campground near Yellowstone National Park on a end of a 2-week vacation in my travel trailer in my 4th attempt at retirement.
Oh, fantastic. Fourth attempt of retirement. So what is keeping you from retiring?
I've been in the mining business now. I'm working on my 51st year, and I've had a fantastic career. And sort of working backwards, I had a second career in academia where I was a professor and department head at the Colorado School of Mines for mining engineering and also geology and geological engineering. I retired in December of 2023, but I still teach in the spring semesters. So I'm usually busy in the spring semesters teaching in the graduate program in mineral exploration at mines. And the rest of the year, I try to retire, but I work part-time as the executive chairman of Brooks and Nelson, which is a recruiting firm in the industry. And this happens to be when I'm not working. So it's a good time to talk to you all.
That's awesome. So you're still involved in the school. We've talked a lot about how the enrollment we've seen across the country, well, and in other countries, the enrollment for students going into the mine industry has really plummeted over the last couple of decades. What's your perspective on that?
It depends on where you're talking in the world. So if you're talking the U.S., Canada, Australia, Western Europe,
yep.
From 2016 to 2025, we saw enrollments in earth science programs and mining programs in Canada decrease by 60% and in the U.S. by 40%. At least at the Colorado School of Mines, we've seen a dramatic turnaround in the mining engineering department. So when I retired, we had about 103 students enrolled in our undergraduate program. Prior to that, it was averaging 83. This year, I understand that our enrollment will be close to 200 undergraduates, so double.
Good.
Okay, that's great.
That's really good. Yeah, we definitely saw quite a bit of decline with everyone we were talking to last year. And so it's good to see that it's coming back around.
And electrification, a need for this. Donald Trump has done some things in his administration to specifically help mining in the United States, but indirectly talking about it all the time and being in the news has made mining engineering something the cool kids want to study.
Yeah.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah, I wondered if there was a correlation between that, and it's really good to see the uptick. That's definitely encouraging because I know we talked about it about a year ago and it wasn't looking good. So seeing it start to turn around again is really good. And I think, yeah, being in the news, being something that people are talking about again is definitely helping. That's good. It's a good sign.
Well, and our business, our industry is fundamentally the same as it's been for millennia. We're extracting valuable materials out of the ground, but we approach it very differently today, right? We have different technology. We have different expectations in how we deal with the environment and the community, and we have new ways of doing that. And the demand has never been as big as it has been today and going forward. So we've got to get it right. And I'm in love with the new generation of students and graduates who are getting into the industry. I wish I was in their position again, because I think they're going to have a fantastic opportunity going ahead.
Oh, the timing's perfect. I mean, they really are getting in at the right time because they'll be able to leverage a lot of these new tools, AI, and a lot of this technology and robotics. They'll be able to really leverage and have a great career, and they're at the beginning of potentially a multi-decade commodity cycle here. So the timing's really good, but also at the same time, they're going to be insulated from a lot of jobs and stuff that are a little shaky right now because of AI and things. Like they're going to be great. They're going to be able to leverage it and have a great career.
Yeah, I'm very optimistic about this next generation coming in, and frankly, my generation started in the 1970s, and that's when environmental awareness became huge.
Yeah.
And the generation that I grew up in addressed all of those things. The generation before us addressed health and safety, and none of those have gone away. We're just adding to it.
Yeah.
And certainly the generation that's sort of in the management level now, they're dealing with the community issues and the permitting and all of that. And I think the next generation is how do we apply technology to do this even better and to make all of our stakeholders have a net positive experience. So.
Yeah, that's great. Lots of things that you can incorporate now. So let's take it back a little bit. So how did you get into the mining industry? How did you end up here in this space?
Not deliberately. I deliberately decided to study geology. I got a degree in geological engineering from the Colorado School of Mines last century. And I wanted to be a geologist since the time I was a year and a half old. My mom would say when we would walk to the store at the corner of our street that I would sit in the sidewalk and play with rocks. So I've always been fascinated by rocks, but I didn't care what I did when I graduated from the Colorado School of Mines. I wanted a job that had anything to do with rocks or the earth. I wanted a job that would be outside, not behind a computer, not in a lab. I wanted to get paid to travel, and I wanted a job that I could learn something new every day. And along came an opportunity to be funded as an undergraduate by Getty Oil Company. So I had 2 summer jobs with Getty. One was being a roustabout in the oil fields in the San Joaquin Valley in California, and I thought for sure I'd get involved in the oil and gas business, which never happened because the second summer between my junior and senior year, I was given a uranium exploration project outside of Rock Springs, Wyoming, to run by myself.
Wow.
And I fell in love with mineral exploration. And then all of my friends at the School of Mines were mining engineering graduates. So they told me, you got to take some of these introductory courses. So I did that. When I graduated, I had a chance to do uranium exploration in the canyonlands of Utah, and 51 years and counting, I'm still in the business and in love with it every day.
That's awesome. What keeps you in the business? What keeps that drive going?
I get to work with rocks. I get to be outside less as I've gotten older and been in management roles, but still. I get to get paid to travel, and I get to learn something new every day. And what we do fundamentally has built our civilization.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
when we look at, so I did a presentation for students at the School of Mines, freshmen, last October, and I was asked to talk about why critical minerals and mining is important to them. And I showed them a picture of the Denver skyline with the Rocky Mountains behind it with snow. Is beautiful. I showed them an oblique view of Shanghai with the river and the transport and the big city and all that. And then I showed them an aerial view, probably a satellite view of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And I asked them to tell me where the mines were in those pictures. There are no mines in those pictures, but civilization has been built from products that we mine. And they've been processed by tools and equipment and machines that are made out of things that have been mined. And so mining is fundamental. And what I really like about it is it doesn't take an army of us to do this.
Right.
We're really highly leveraged in what we do. And I don't think people realize that. I think mining is hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. We had a conversation about this yesterday. We do a biannual kind of planning meeting for Burgex, and we get together and talk about things. And and yeah, I was just speculating yesterday about what percentage of the population thinks that tools come from the hardware store, and food comes from the grocery store, and electricity comes from the plug. They don't think about any of the stuff behind that. And so that's really interesting and important awareness too. I mean, it's fun having a conversation with people and students or even adults and people from different fields and talking about where things come from, the supply chain, and you see like, the light bulb, like, wow, there's a whole world that they weren't aware of. And
it just quietly works.
Yeah, and the leverage, I mean, it's phenomenal. Like, we're a small team, we have probably 25 people, but at any given time we're working on 100 projects all over the place.
Yeah. It's fascinating. What the disconnect is that the local impact where mining happens, in the communities, right, in the locations where mines are, they get a disproportion of the physical and sometimes negative economic impact, even though there's a positive economic impact. But the consumers of everything that comes from that are displaced, and typically in the urban areas where there's this disconnect is huge, right? And so that's one of the challenges, that people who use our products, if you will, are disconnected from where they are. Yeah. And that's a hard story to tell.
It is. It is. I mean, if we had like the ingredient labels on every single product, they'd be like thousands. It'd be like a book, right? Like, this was sourced from here, and this is what it is.
Your smartphone would come with the whole book of where everything came from and where it was all put together. And yeah, and it is. You nailed it right on the head. I think the disconnect in the urban areas, you're so far removed from the manufacturing and where everything actually occurs, the mining, the manufacturing, all that supply chain, so you're just not aware of it.
Yeah, you don't have to be.
Yeah, when you look at the footprint of urbanization across the habitable part of the continents, right? And you look at the footprint sort of in square kilometers or square miles of mining, it's orders of magnitude smaller. To be involved in that industry gives me a lot of satisfaction, and I still get to be in places like this, whether it's on a trip for my own interests, or whether it's working at a mine or an exploration somewhere in the world.
So you've worked all over the world, is that right? Do you have like a favorite place?
I have 57 countries and counting.
Wow.
I've only lived as a resident in the United States.
Okay. Wow.
So the first 20 years of my career, I worked predominantly in mining operations, in development projects to make them into mines, or advanced exploration projects that allowed me to stay home. And the biggest mine that I've ever worked in, I was the chief geologist at Freeport's Morenci mine when Phelps Dodge owned it.
Wow.
And there I was given a chance to get supported on a PhD program at the University of Arizona. And I was told by a lot of people, don't expect your life to change as a result of doing your PhD. You're not going to make more money. You're not going to get a better job and stuff. And I said, yeah, I'm doing this because I want to learn and I want to study Morenci. It turns out they were wrong. It fundamentally changed my life and my career. Went from being a mine geologist to a year and a half later, head of worldwide exploration for Phelps Dodge. And I left Phelps Dodge to join Newmont several years later to be head of worldwide exploration for Newmont globally. So I've had the pleasure, frankly, of being able to work all over the world in the gold and copper business. And I've seen many of the world's major gold mines, major copper mines. And then I've worked in extremely remote places on exploration projects to find more. And that's what I wanted to do when I was a kid.
That's awesome. So you got to check that travel box like many times over.
Yeah, it's a common theme. We see a lot in the show. It's great. We get to interview lots of people in mining and from all different parts of it and find out. And a really common theme is a lot of people ended up in mining unintentionally. They liked rocks, or they wanted to do something else, and they had a friend that talked them into taking a job, And then the other really common theme is they wanted to be outside.
Yep.
A lot of
Yeah,
geologists,
exactly right.
engineers, yeah.
Want to be outside and traveling. Yeah.
But Morenci,
Yeah,
that's cool.
and mining
Yeah.
engineers want to work with their hands, or
Yeah.
they like explosives. They love, I mean, there is something that attracts people to the business, but the typical profile of a professional in the mining industry is someone who wants to travel. They want to be outside. They want to work with their hands. That's just. And by the way, there's lots of opportunity in the mining industry for people who want to be in a lab. They want to work at a computer station.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think the number of disciplines that work in the mining business are on the order of like 54 that's been counted.
Yeah.
I think the Minerals Education Coalition with SME is to produce that information. And that's stunning. I remember once I went to the University of Arizona when I was an executive at Phelps Dodge. It was a recruiting day, a college recruiting day. And I happened to knew the president of the university. And I went and introduced myself again. And I said, hey, I'm here. I just want to say hi. Thanks for having career days. And he says, so what are you doing? You're recruiting for mining engineers or geologists. I said, yeah. I said, but we have 28 other positions that we're looking for across the campus. And he was stunned at that. And I don't think he knew about mining, right? He came from a mining community, but he had no idea that we were recruiting across a number of different departments for a variety of positions.
Oh yeah, across the board. I mean, you got HR, finance, marketing, all of that doesn't need that, technical mining background.
Yeah, and then within the technical background, I mean like I can walk around the mine and go underground and pretty broad geological and engineering understanding of what's going on. But I get into the mill or the smelter, and I have no idea what anything is or what it's, other than real rudimentary, basically. That's a ball mill, and,
that's a shaker table.
Anodes over here, and other than that, like, there's so many different
That's a whole nother world,
specialties,
world of mining.
I mean, when I go to technical conferences now, what I like to do is go to sessions about topics I know nothing about.
Yeah.
And to go to a geology session, I will if I know the speaker or the session chairman or something. But otherwise, I want to go learn about the rest of the business. It's fascinating.
Yeah, especially the innovations and what's going on. I mean, there's always innovations happening, and not a lot of them we're really exposed to on, especially the exploration side. Mm-hmm. We're not nearly as exposed to a lot of what's going on in the mining and processing. So that's a great way to do it. Just pick and learn.
So I don't know, it's probably 2019 or something. This is like pre-COVID. I ran into a guy at a conference who said, "Oh, I worked for you at one point." I've had so many people work for me, I wasn't sure. And he reminded me where that was. And then he says, I'm based in Mexico now, and I am the head of an organization that puts on a Mexico mining conference every year. And he says, I would like you to be one of our keynote speakers. And I said, I don't have anything new to say. If I had something new to say, I'd come down and do it. He says, and he knew me well enough to say, well, if you don't have anything new to say, why don't you go out there and find out what's new and then tell us about it? And I went, damn, that was the hook.
There you go.
And so I went to 3 conferences before his with graduate students, and I tasked everyone for finding out what the new technology was in 2019. And so I put a talk together. I said, here's what's happening new in exploration technology. And it was stunning, and now it's all out of date.
Yeah.
Right? So it's fascinating to see the pace of change in technology in our business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I talked to there's this group Cobalt Metals who's doing AI exploration. They originally set out to use AI exploration for cobalt, and then they've kind of spread out. Now they're looking at copper and different things, but I remember talking to them probably 2018, 2019 when they were just starting the company, and I was like, I don't know about this. That's kind of a wild thing. Like, this is before ChatGPT really took off and all this other stuff, and now you look back and you're like, yeah, I mean, getting a 4 or 5 year head start in that's going to be pretty powerful technology in the future. It's interesting to see it evolve.
It is. I think the jury's still out on the impact that AI will have on our industry.
Yeah.
And I think the jury is still out about the impact of new technology across the board in our industry, mineral processing or other, right? The challenge that mining has, and I've done research on this, is that the pace of change in the telecommunications sector, if you want to look at it that way, the IT sector, is one transformative innovation comes to market every year.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not hard. We see that all the time, right?
Yeah.
In mining, it's been 3 per century.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been 3 per century.
Wow.
Last century, it was open pit mining, and then it was froth flotation, and then at the end of last century, it was heap leaching, right?
Yeah.
Huge, dramatic industry changing technology.
Yeah.
So now, we're in this century, and like I said, everything that I looked at in 2019 about exploration technology and approaches is now out of date, right?
Yeah.
So that was just the beginning of the application of big data, machine learning, crowdsourcing, all that kind of stuff. And now we do that all the time, and now we're doing it artificially. Machine learning has been around a long time, but the artificial intelligence engine on the front of that is what we see now.
Yeah.
I'm a huge bull about the copper business and where that has to go, and I think that the holy grail, if you will, in copper is how do we economically recover copper from low-grade primary chalcopyrite ores?
Yeah.
Because if we can, it will renew many of the existing districts in the world and give us new deposits to look for that are low-grade chalcopyrite. So people have been working on that for decades and have not cracked it yet, although Rio Tinto in Arizona has their Newton technology in a small commercialization project now, and where I think we're all hopeful something like that can happen. But those can be transformative. I mean, those can be simply transformative. So we'll see where it goes. But the challenge that I see is in exploration, we can use AI and machine learning and big data to help us perhaps be smarter and certainly faster about targeting.
Yeah.
But it doesn't change the time frame, frankly, from conception to production.
Yeah.
Because you still have to acquire the land, you still have to drill it, you still have to raise the money, you still have to advance it through engineering, you have to get it financed, you have to build it. And AI is not going to shorten that very dramatically, but it will make us smarter and faster in terms of targeting. So we still have challenges. So when I say the jury's out, how is AI going to pick up? How about that? How is it going to impact the rest of that cycle from exploration, discovery through production? I don't know what that's going to look like. We know it will help in operations.
For sure, yeah. And there's a lot of ideas and obviously a lot of talk about it. Any of these mining conferences now, exploration conferences, there's at least a half a dozen to a dozen speakers on AI in different aspects of the industry. It's really big, but targeting for sure, but you still need boot leather and drill steel. There's no replacement for that. And then the data interpretation between the phases, refining the targeting and planning, I think it helps with that. But substantially, what does it do for permitting? What does it do for, NIMBY and things like that we talked a little bit about earlier? Does it really have any impact there? And it's hard to say.
Yeah, so like I say, the jury's out. We'll see, right? The jury's out. What we do know is that the world's population continues to grow. The bulk of that population growth, almost all of it, comes from the developing world, and they have 10% of the metal demand for their lifestyle that we do. And so fundamentally, the world is going to need more it's going to need more resources across all sectors. And the other thing we have yet to totally reckon with is the energy requirements to support our modern society. And everything in the news today is about data centers and what they require in terms of water and energy. And I don't want them in my community, or I do want them in my community. But how about this? I want to use the internet, and I want my data stored in the cloud, and I want to be able to use AI, but I don't want a data center in my backyard. It goes back to NIMBYism.
Yeah.
And frankly, what I've seen in the communities that I'm familiar with around data center kerfuffles, if you will, is that the data companies who are doing this could learn a lot from the mining industry about how to deal with communities.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that on a few episodes.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, I think a lot of us in the mining industry, and we work in aggregates too. So a lot of the time we're helping a client put in a small sand and gravel pit or a crushed stone pit, and it's the same reaction regardless of the size of the mine. So we do a lot of that, and I think a lot of us in the industry have kind of been a little bemused looking at the data center, and because a lot of these tech guys have really enjoyed a lot of public support and everything over the years, and now it's kind of funny to see like, oh, see, you got to deal with it too. So it's interesting.
You can't just go under the radar.
It doesn't work. It makes the public so mad. I mean, it's been interesting even watching with the increase of needing the nuclear reactors, because even in Utah, we've seen the sentiment change, or at least trying to change. And we've seen billboards go up on I-15 of showing like radiation is safer than like a banana on your countertop.
Yeah, or nuclear reactor puts out less radiation than
and
a
so
banana,
it's interesting to like see this like change in, these big companies wanting to like, do all these things, create the data centers, get the power, but it's like you got to start with the public sentiment. Like you have to get that social license.
Oh, so I started my career in uranium exploration. I called myself a glow-in-the-dark boy. And I thought, and so my first time I got laid off was at 3 Mile, when 3 Mile Island happened in March of 1989, and I'm sorry, March of 79, and so I lost my job, but I thought uranium's going to come back because it's a fundamental energy source, and I figured it would come back towards the latter part of my career, and here it is, latter part of my career, and it's come back big time. And I've thought on many projects I've had in remote areas. One was in eastern Suriname on the border of French Guiana, where we had a river there. I said, I just want to bring a defunct nuclear submarine up that river and plug the mine into the nuclear power, right? And I used to say, I want a vest pocket nuclear plant that I could use, because energy is a huge problem in these remote areas. So now we're seeing the microreactors, the SMR, small modular reactors, being considered. Places like Australia that would benefit from them politically might not ever adopt them, but maybe Canada will for sure in the north. And what's interesting is when you think about full cycle mining life cycle, you will ultimately close down a mine. You will not close down that SMR. You will provide that power as a benefit to whoever needs it in that local community or that region. And so to me, I'm really excited by that technology, but it's going to take a while for people to get past the, nuclear war aspect and the Fukushima and, Chernobyl things that people think about, which are frankly very small impacts on a global basis. So.
Yeah, and the sentiment is shifting. I mean, it's fortunate that the same industry titans that need all the power control a significant amount of the media, so they're able to kind of start shifting the narrative back, which is helpful. But it's going to take some time. But the SMR is super interesting. Huge potential impact, especially for rural communities, remote areas, projects. it unlocks a lot of mines that would be uneconomical now. That may be something that helps turn the tide a little bit, but yeah, it's still early. It's going to take a few years to get some up and running and see the results, and then for mass adoption, I mean, it could still be another 15 or 20 years, but we're headed in the right direction.
So it has been said that man, we as humans, serially overestimate what we can do in 2 years.
Oh yeah,
we all know that personally, but we are also serially bad at forgetting what we can accomplish in 10 years.
Yeah.
So this whole time frame, we say, well, we can't do it now. It's too hard. It'll be 10 or 15, 20 years from now. But you realize that in 10 years, you've already done way more of that than you ever thought you could.
Yeah.
And the pace of change is always accelerating. And so we just always seem to forget that. So yeah, I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see other people telling our story of the need for minerals.
Yes.
Because it seems like for the last 40 years, everyone's been talking about how bad mining is, and it's environmentally destructive and it ruins communities. I mean, it's been horrible. And now other people are telling our story, and I think it's more believable than us telling our story. We just have to show good examples of how we do it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And there are a lot of good examples, and the industry definitely could get better about sharing those good examples. I mean, successful reclamation projects, the community benefits and impacts that are occurring around mine sites. But yeah, other people are telling the story. We had a delegation from Harvard in our office just a couple days ago, and they're doing a study on critical minerals and going out and interviewing industry people to learn about what are the bottlenecks, what does this really look like, and talking to the industry, which is really important. It's something we wouldn't have seen 10 years ago. So it's a good sign.
It's a good, yeah. I thought that was an encouraging shift.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they are, and we need the workforce.
Yep.
Some countries don't need the workforce,
Right.
because they have it already. But in the U.S., Canada, Australia, we need the workforce. I went to a mining conference this summer. I don't know if it was up at AEMA. I think it was at AEMA where I met you, Crystal.
Yes.
And I was talking to the number of drilling companies that happened to be there, which I thought was really interesting. And I was asking them about, their business, and they said, we're parking drill rigs because we don't have the workforce. We're not talking mining engineers or geologists. They don't have the workforce to put on their drill rigs. And so it is slowing the pace of exploration drilling because the drill rigs aren't available.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting way to think about the impact of workforce that I never thought about before.
Yeah. Running a rig is I was just out on a drill rig site a couple weeks ago interviewing earth drilling, and their biggest commodity is people, right? Like, finding good people to run rigs is the most important part of a drilling thing, because something is always going to go wrong. It's a guarantee that something will go wrong on a drilling program, and you need the people there who have that experience to work through it and fix it and then move on. Right? You just can't hire the green people.
Yeah.
So it goes on. I mean, the Henderson mine in Colorado, where I live, it's up in the mountains. In times they're desperate for skilled workers.
Yeah.
Right. Electricians, journeymen, metal workers, or whatever it happens to be. I mean, they can't find them. Right. And that's a wonderful place to live and work.
Right.
But they're just not there, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah. There's a whole ecosystem of people that make a mine run. We tend to focus a lot on the exploration side, and it's what we do. And so, it's a small group of very highly leveraged professionals. But even on the drilling side, like we need, being a good drill hand is a skill. That's not something you can just go in and do. And then running the rig and being a foreman and actually being able to
highly skilled positions.
Operate in difficult terrain and everything. Highly skilled, a lot of experience required.
AI
to do
is
it well.
not going to take that job.
Nope.
It might help you troubleshoot some things,
Yeah.
but you still need that experience, that human knowledge,
Yeah.
for sure.
But there's a place where technology's already made a difference, right?
Yeah.
They now have Starlink or whatever. They have all the instrumentation on their drill rigs now. They can upload that to the office in Toronto or wherever it happens to be, and people can watch what's happening on that rig and give them advice.
Yeah.
It's not going to be very long before the lab at rig stuff and the downhole, exploration tools that we want to see links up to the cloud and compares the data coming out of the ground with what they already know against known deposit models and say, oh, stop that hole now. Your probability of success is low, or keep going. I mean, it's going to change how we do things. And so all of this interconnectedness of things is going to be cool technology when it comes together.
Oh yeah. It's a great time for the young kids to get into the industry because they have that fundamental knowledge of technology because they've grown up with it, they've seen it, and now they can use their creative brains to implement that into the industry, like in ways that we probably would never think of. Because we are on that younger generation of barely knowing technology growing up and like kind of learning it as we've gone. But I think with the new generation, the younger generation coming online, like I think there's just so much opportunity for them in this space to really just change the way we've done things.
Yeah. I tell my students at the beginning of class, at the beginning of the semester, and I remind them again at the end of the semester, I wish I was 22 again, or whatever age they are, right?
Yeah.
And then I tell them, then I show them why over the course of the semester, and at the end they say, and this is why I wish I was 22 again, because you have such an exciting opportunity.
Definitely.
So,
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a great time. I mean, it really is. They'll have a phenomenal career and see, you were talking about there were three major mining technology changes in a century. And I think the potential with AI, just in advancing technology and solutions and things as it grows, this could be a century where we see 5 or 6 major mining technologies emerge, which would be phenomenal. And these students today could get to see a significant chunk of that.
And we don't know how AI is going to help us understand how to use fewer metals, right? How to use fewer metals. How to be more efficient at what we do. I mean, technology is not just going to impact how we explore for and mine materials out of the ground. It's going to affect how we use them and how efficient we can be. So it's a fascinating world to be part of right now.
Yeah, really
it is. Yeah, and I share your view that I don't know what's going to happen in a lot of the minerals, especially these critical minerals, especially with China. I don't know what's going to happen in antimony or tungsten or rare earths or things like that, but copper, no matter what happens, we need a lot more copper.
Fortunately, our planet has a lot of it.
Yeah.
But it's fundamental. It's just fundamental.
Great. Well, Steve, it was a pleasure to talk with you today. I learned so much, and it's just so fun to hear your perspective of the industry. So thank you so much for joining us on Mine Explorers.
Yes, thank you, Steve. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for asking me. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. I appreciate it.
And we'll see you next time.